Hello students, good afternoon. In the last class we have studied about classification of organisms by R.H. Whittaker based on different criteria. So today we'll move on with fungi. So what is fungi actually? Talking about fungi, it is eukaryotic microorganisms. You have studied it in the last class only. Here is a fungi and they belong to eukaryotes. So we are going to call them as eukaryotic fungi. Means fungi belong to eukaryotic microorganisms. So two major groups of organisms make up the fungi. What are those? Those are molds and yeasts. To talk about molds, they are filamentous fungi. They have thallus-like organization of body. They do contain hyphae. Hyphae actually forms a network or mesh-like structure in the form of mycelium. So to give an example of mold, it is bread mold, and then we have blue mold. Bread mold means rhizopus is called as bread mold. When talking about blue or green mold, it is penicillium. So this is about molds. Talking about yeast. Yeast is nothing but eukaryotic, but it is single-celled microorganisms which is classified as a member of fungus. So most of the yeasts reproduces asexually by mitosis division, and many do so by asymmetric divisions process known as budding. So these two make up entire fungi as an organism. So study of fungi, we are going to call it as mycology. We do have different study of taxonomy, wherein we are going to study about plants. Ecology, we are going to study about environment plus relationship with organisms, that is termed to be as ecology. Plant pathology, study of diseases. In the same way, study of fungi, we are going to call it as mycology. And whenever the plant is suffering from the fungal diseases, if that study we are going to do, then that study we are going to call it as mycosis. The study of fungal diseases is called as mycosis. So we have talked now about fungi. Speaking about fungus, so when we consider fungus as an organism, it must be eukaryotic because it falls under a category of eukaryotes. Okay, it possesses cell wall. Fungi and plantae, if you remember, they are the one which are categorized in with the cell wall because they are organized by a well developed cell wall. So that cell wall is chitin. Here it is mentioned, cell wall of fungus is made up of chitin. So they grow extending filamentous cells called hyphae or by budding. Just now we have discussed about it. And they do not contain chlorophyll. Yeah, they don't have pigment of chlorophyll, hence they do not contain chlorophyll. They are neither green in color. They not uh, process called photosynthesis, hence they do not have chlorophyll. If they do not have chlorophyll, then they are referred to be as heterotrophs. Okay, they are referred to be as heterotrophs if they do not contain chlorophyll, or if they do not process the activity of photosynthesis. While talking about plants, in the last class only we have discussed plants are referred to be as autotrophs, fungi are referred to be as heterotrophs. Okay, so they obtain nutrients by releasing digestive enzymes into the environment to break down organic molecules which are then absorbed. So what all we are going to learn in further classes? We are going to learn about general characteristics of fungi. We learn structure of fungi, what all it contains, economic importance of fungi, pathogenicity, brief introduction of different fungi, of some important fungi. Along with that, we also will learn about nutritive value of fungi, and then medicinal importance of fungi, what all the components of fungi has, means what all it contains, carbohydrates, vitamins, proteins, minerals, water, everything we are going to study in further classes. So talking about general characteristics of fungi. First character is fungi are not plants. Plants are different, fungi are different because major difference, fungi are heterotrophs, plants are autotrophs. They are non-photosynthetic. They don't have chlorophyll. They neither possess any of the photosynthetic activity, hence they are not non-photosynthetic because they are not green in color. They are eukaryotes, yes. They are non-motile. They cannot move. Motile means the one which has a motion with the help of cilia, flagella and all. These are non-motile means they cannot they don't possess any locomotory structures. They cannot move. They are stagnant over the place. Most of them are saprobes, means they actually live and grow and develop themselves on dead organisms. That term is referred to be as saprobes. They grow best in warm, moist environments. Wherever the moisture content is high, And one more thing, they also grow on trees, because sometimes the moisture content in winter or any season, when we consider if it is high, they also preferably grow on tree trunks. They grow wherever there is moist places, wherever there is suitable atmosphere for them, either warm or moist. They make themselves as a habitat to grow over there. So mycology is a study of fungi. Mycologists study fungi. So the one who studies about fungi, its origin, different kinds, different species of it, where the occurrence of that is there, everything. So such person, we are going to refer them as mycologists. Okay, the fungicide is a chemical used to kill fungi. We have fungicide, we have pesticides. We are using this because whenever plants or crops are suffering from any kind of diseases, especially when it is considered to be a fungi, to kill that we are going to use a fungicide. To kill pests, if pests are growing, then we are using pesticide. These are the measures how we are going to control the diseases, that again in detail you are going to learn in plant pathology in upcoming classes, means in next semesters and all. You have plant pathology as a subject. We are going to study about different kinds of diseases, such it may be tica disease of groundnut, it may be for potato, it may be citrus canker caused by Xanthomonas citrae to citri, vitamin C rich plants. Different you are going to study in coming classes. So now fungicide means it is a chemical which is used to kill fungi. Means if a fungi is attacking some plants or some crops, if we spray this fungicide, then the disease will be under control for some extent. We are going to control by spraying fungicide on a fungi which has affected a plant. So they are important decomposers too, and recyclers of nutrients in the environment. Most of them are multicellular except unicellular yeast. I have told you in the starting class only. Yeasts are eukaryotic, they are single celled microorganisms. They lack true roots, stems, or leaves. Can you see here? Any roots can you see here? No. Can you see any kind of leaves over here? No, nothing. You have just a cap like dome structure called as pileus. You have below gills. Then this is called as stalk or stem. This is called as vulva, and this is called as ring. So this much you have. Plus here what you'll be having? Here you'll be having mycelium or a hyphae like growth. The mycelium may be septate or aseptate. Septate in the sense the one which has septas in it. So each septa, sometimes they bear nuclei or nucleus. And aseptate means the septa will not be present. So mycelium will be either septate, means the presence of septas will be there in a mycelium. Aseptate means they won't bear any septas in their mycelium. So mycelium will be there. Other than that, we do not find any true root, stems, or leaves. We do not find any vascular system tissues also, like vascular tissues in the sense phloem and xylem. Phloem is food conducting, xylem is water conducting. Such tissues they don't bear, hence they are referred to be as non-vascular fungi plants. Okay, as I said, the cell walls are made up of chitin. When we consider plants, plant cell walls is made up of cellulose, whereas fungi cell wall are made up of chitin. It is nothing but a complex polysaccharide. Body is called as thallus. Yes, it is mold. It has filamentous thallus like organization, hyphae and all I said. Hence, we can say body is a complete thallus. They grow as microscopic tubes or filaments called hyphae. Here it is. You can see here this entire thing, this single branch like structure, we are going to call it as hyphae. When it forms a complete mesh like structure, this entire we are going to call it as mycelium. Okay. And then some fungi are internal or external parasites. So the fungi may be parasites, the fungi may be saprophytes, the fungi may be symbi, and so on and so forth. When we talk about internal, then it is endo. Endo means inside. When we talk about external, then it is ecto. If the fungi is going to stay inside the host, then they are referred to be as endoparasites. If they are going to be outside the host, then we are going to call it as ectoparasites. Why they are attached to the host? As because they are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means the one which do not prepare its own food. It has, when it is not preparing its own food, it has to develop physiological activity, metabolic activity, everything has to develop. So it has to be dragged some carbohydrate for the development. It has to trap some energy for the development. It has to gain some nutrients. For that purpose, it will be acting as a parasite, suffering the host. If it is present inside the host, then it is called as endo. If it is present outside, it is called as ecto. Okay. uh, and some fungi are edible while others are poisonous. In coming classes we'll study the entire classification, like which fungi are referred to be as poisonous in the sense we just cannot go near to it. Such are to be said as poisonous, but one has to know what structure it will be and what kind of fungi it will be, what kind of mushroom it will be when it is poisonous. If it is edible, we have so many edible fungi, mushrooms. We even have it is purely vegetarian basis. We gain so much of nutrients, we gain so much of proteins, we gain so much of carbohydrates also. It has good nutrient components. We are going to study nutrient components also in the fungi. So what fungi are edible, what fungi are poisonous, we have to study, because one has to know. After looking, immediately one has to say which is poisonous, which is edible, which we can take, which we can pluck. Everything has to be known. So talking about classification: edible, non-edible, poisonous, non-poisonous. Some of the mushrooms will be non-poisonous, but we can't have it. It will not be edible. Only edible fungi will be better to have. So that classification we are going to study. These are the one which can have reproduction. When we talk, they are by sexual means, by asexual means, and also by vegetative means. Three modes of reproduction we can see, that is sexual, asexual, and vegetative reproduction. So reproduction and all, after classification, after everything, we are going to have it. So this is what about a characteristics brief account of. One more important thing I forgot to say, I think, alternation of generation. Yeah, fungi too have alternation of generation. In the previous classes, in first semester, you all have studied regarding bryophytes. They have the alternation of generation because two phases, that is sporophytic phase and gametophytic phase, will be present in the life cycle of bryophytes. Sporophytic phase, gametophytic phase, when we talk, it is dormant phase, it is dominant phase, it is the one which is not dependent, it is the one which is peculiar. What about sporophytic phase? It is dependent, it is inconspicuous, it is very small phase because it is entirely dependent on gametophytic phase. So we were having bryophytes was having two phases in alternation of generation. Even when we consider fungi, it is also having two phases, wherein sporophyte produces spores by meiosis, which germinate and develop into a gametophyte in the next generation. So even this has sporophyte and gametophytic life cycle, making alternation of generation. So further we are going to study it in the next class. Thank you.